success doesn't necessarily come instantly. I ran my first world championship 10 years ago. Had a lot of bumps in the road on the way leading up here with stress fractures, stress reactions, different ruptures, torn meniscus. I've had 4th places in 4 different events at the European Championships. But now, like 10 years later, I finally got a medal. So, I mean, just because you don't give up doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to have success, but you're never going to have success if you give up.
That was Andreas Almgren today on the Running Effect podcast, back on the podcast, but this time, ladies and gentlemen, with a bronze medal to his name. He came on the podcast for the first time earlier this season, and since then he's won a bronze medal at the 2025 World Championships in the 10K on the track, and he just continues to further cement himself as, I would say, the greatest Swedish runner of all time. I mean, this guy holds records of 13:05 in the 5K on the road and 59:23 for the half marathon. He's also the first European to break 27 minutes for the 10K on the road, clocking 26:53. And months later, he ran 12:44.27 in Stockholm to break the European 5K record. This guy's on fire. 2025 is the year of Andreas Almgren. And today on the podcast, he breaks down that legendary World Championships performance, plus an inside look that we start out with of the Valencia half marathon, where he will be going after the European road half marathon record. I love this conversation. Very honest, very raw, and deep reflection after probably the biggest race of his life. So without further ado, enjoy this conversation with newly minted bronze medalist Andreas Almgren. Ladies and gentlemen, he called a shot on the podcast a few months ago, said he wanted to bring his nation home a medal. That he did, a bronze medal in the 10K at the 2025 World Championships in Tokyo. Andreas, welcome back to the podcast. How you doing, man?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I'm doing well. It's been a few intense weeks now after the Worlds, but I'm feeling good.
Does it feel real yet? Has it set in?
Not really, no. But yeah, you can notice the difference here in Sweden now. Suddenly I get recognized in the streets. So it feels kind of real.
Do you like that, or do you think that'll get
Yeah, I
exhausting?
enjoy it. I mean,
Yeah.
I worked quite hard to be in this situation, so I just enjoy it.
I love it, man. We talked about this beforehand. I asked about your break. You said, I'm not taking a break yet, quite yet. I have one more race. Tell the people what you're doing.
Yeah, so the 26th of October, I'm doing Valencia half marathon. So that's going to be my last race of this year. So I'm just keeping up with the training for a few more weeks, and then I can have my vacation. I'm a bit jealous seeing everybody else posting on Instagram, laying by the beach and pools and enjoying themselves. But in a few weeks, that's going to be me.
We talked a lot about training in depth last time, which I think a lot of people enjoyed because I don't do that with a lot of guests, and you were very open, which I appreciated, as did a lot of others. How do you shift from that kind of 5K, 10K, maybe a little more specific to the 10K work, into the half marathon? And we do see this quite a bit with like a Kiplimo or a Cheptegei back in the day, where they would smash races on the track and then be able to convert it really well, actually, to this very specific race that you're doing. What's the reasoning behind that? Do you feel like it's, because you're doing a lot of threshold already, it sets you up well for the half, or was that shift in training very like half marathon, specific and focused?
Now I say when you do the threshold training that we do, it's kind of natural to switch to the half marathon. It's basically the same speeds, so it's not a hard transition. The thing that I change a bit is the pure half marathon specific workouts. So I need to be more used doing longer stuff for quite hard stuff for a longer time. So I think I said it in the pod the last time, where usually in my base training I do hills on Saturdays, but now I do a half marathon specific workout instead. But the rest of the week looks quite the same.
What's an example of a half marathon specific session? And has that been hard to go from, 10K sessions, sell your soul on the track and spikes, ripping at the end to the roads and probably vapor flies or alpha flies dialing in, half marathon pace?
Yeah, especially coming from like world championship preps. Like the last few weeks leading up to that, it was a lot of, like 200s, 300s, trying to sharpen the kick. And now doing high mileage thresholds, the specific work, it's quite different. So it's been about 1.5 weeks since Worlds now, we're talking. So I've only done one half marathon specific work so far, apart from the threshold. But it was I did 3 by 5K, yeah, off track, not completely flat, but not very hilly. So like a little bit of rolling hills, bit of a cut down. So I think I did like 14:43, 14:25, 14:12 or something for those 5Ks. So basically, I think that I'm very strong anaerobically now, and I don't think I need more speed for the half marathon. So now I just need to run reasonably fast for quite some time.
I coach one athlete. I'm sure he's listening to this podcast. He was a friend that I met up with when I moved to Columbus, Ohio last January. We met for the first time, and he was very early on in his running journey. And so I would send him advice every now and again. And now I kind of coach him in a formal capacity as a friend, nothing too serious, but he's remarkably talented. He is, let me think, 20 years old, 20 or 21 years old. And he played tennis and soccer growing up, and he's going for a 2:24 marathon in Chicago after only 2 years of running. So he's a stud. And something I've talked to him a lot and just discerned through training him is the importance of running faster paces for the half and for the full. I think a lot of people enter into those blocks. We'll take a half marathon block specifically because that's what we're talking about here. And they'll just do, half marathon pace, once a week for the 10-week block or whatever. But I actually think there's a lot of value in what you did, which is, track races. And now half marathon pace is going to feel infinitely easier because your body's probably used to doing, K repeats at 10K pace or sometimes even 5K pace. Can you speak to how actually being really sharp on the speed side can a lot of times go underlooked when it comes to racing, the half marathon specifically?
Uh, yeah, I think that basically for all the events, it's good to have some kind of overcapacity, of course. You need to get through the first 10K and feel very good. And if you have not done like yeah, the speed that's over race pace, you're not gonna feel easy at those paces. So I think that I'm coming from, let's say, a 26:40, maybe better shape, and then open at a 27:50, then that's gonna feel pretty easy. So I think it's good to have, yeah, done a bit like a few faster stuff, basically. Um, I don't think I also don't think that you need to do like pure like race pace stuff, because now when I'm in the base training, or the prep, I'm gonna feel so much more fatigued than when I'm actually doing the race. Um, so if my goal pace is to be at like 2:47 per kilometer or something, I think it's enough to do stuff at 2:55, at least the harder stuff, because I'm gonna feel so much more fresh when I'm actually racing.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when we last spoke, you said that you had done a half marathon kind of at the beginning of your season, after a lot of like base phase type work, a lot of, early threshold stuff, but not necessarily as sharp. I hope I'm right on that. Whereas this time you peaked for the world championships, debatably in the fitness of your life, you get a bronze medal, and then you're closing your season with a half marathon. Obviously, you might be a little more tired than normal, specifically mentally, because the season has been so long, but are you excited to take another stab at this distance in better shape and you can line up on the line knowing that you placed third in the world in the 10K and you were the best shape you've ever been in?
Yeah, so I did my first half marathon 1.5 years ago. So it was in the beginning of 2024. And then, like, I think it was about 4 weeks before that, I ran a road 10K in 27:20. So I think I'm in a lot better shape than when I did my first half marathon. And I ran 59:23 in my debut. So yeah, I'm aiming quite high now in Valencia. I think that, yeah, my body feels very good, and I'm actually, like, mentally, I'm quite excited for the race. Actually, I obviously ran very well in the 10K, but then yeah, I had some problems recharging for the 5K. I had a lot of trouble sleeping, and yeah, a lot of stuff around that. So I underperformed very yeah, a lot in the 5K. So that's made me feel like I want some kind of redemption now in Valencia.
Valencia always brings together a star-studded field, including yourself in this year's field. How much of the race do you view, competition versus running a fast time? And the beauty of the race is every year it's both, right? It's competing and the time is always going to be wildly fast. There are no tactics when it comes to Valencia. But from your perspective, how are you approaching this race? Are you trying to compete with guys, or is it really, here's the pace I want to run and I'm going to run it regardless?
I think I always run the best when I'm competing, but I can't be stupid. I mean, if the front guys go out insanely fast, it's no use trying to keep up with them. Just because I want to stay in the front pack as long as possible. Um, I haven't looked at the entire start list, but I know that Jomif Kielce is running, and he ran 57:30, yeah, 30 there last year. And if he's aiming for something similar, I think I'll just have to let him go and then try to beat as many other guys as possible.
Is it crazy to you that guys are running 57:30 now? And obviously the 2 hour barrier in the marathon. When you think of the half, most people don't think of the down event. They think of the next event, which is the marathon. And 57:30, I'm like, oof. I think whoever's running that might have a good chance at sub 2, or at least we're getting close to that in a sanctioned world major. Obviously, tragic news of Kiptum passing a few years ago, and he was kind of on the precipice of doing it. But how do you view that barrier specifically in relation to how fast guys are running?
Um, I mean, you need to be good at the half marathon to be a good marathon runner, but it's not enough to just be good at the half marathon. I mean, Kiplimo ran like 50, what was it, 56:40 in Barcelona previous this year, and then he ran, was it like 2:03 in London, or 2:04? I don't really remember. So it's a huge step going to the full distance. But I think someone like Sawe could be someone who goes also for that limit, or that barrier. What he did in the heat in Berlin was very impressive now. So I think we're just like a matter of a few years before anyone breaks that limit. But it's not enough to just run a quick half marathon and think you can step up to the full marathon. It's a lot of different preparation you need for that.
There's
That's
this
why I'm saving the marathon for quite a few years.
There's a saying in the marathon community, and I ran one less than 2 weeks ago, and I felt this: halfway is 20 miles. And I think a lot
Yeah.
of people run a half and they think, oh, I wonder what the conversion would be. But marathon is its own world, its own event. I think the big reason is like your body, it's very predictable when you're only out there for an hour. Like you can control a lot of things. The marathon, the fueling, the time on legs, if you're out there running that close to threshold pace for 2 hour, a little over 2 hours, like you're inevitably gambling and you have to have it on the day. which is why I think Kipchoge breaking it, even in a very like controlled setting, is still, in my opinion, the most impressive thing I've ever seen done in the sport.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to think about a lot when I'm doing a half marathon. It's like I don't need any fueling during, as long as I'm getting enough carbs the days before, I'm all set. Um, I don't have to think anything about like different kind of metabolisms or like carb fueling or fat fueling. It's like everything is just pure carbs for me during that race. So it's like quite predictable compared to a marathon where it's so much like different things that you need to consider. So I'm just sticking to the easy stuff like 5, 10.5 for a few years. Then we'll see what happens after Los Angeles.
What's the I was gonna ask you a question. Oh, what's the shoe selection for Valencia? Alpha Fly, Vaporfly?
I think I'm gonna do the Alpha Fly.
Nice. Such a good shoe.
I
Do you
yeah,
train
I
much in
think
them?
yeah, I do a lot of threshold work, especially the morning threshold on treadmill in them. I think they're obviously fast and a little bit more well cushioned than the Vaporfly. They're a little bit more aggressive. So I use the Vaporfly if I do like a road 10K. But I think that I'll probably run better with the Alpha Fly, especially for the last 5K.
I'm sure you've seen or even experienced, because I know you train with him a little bit, Jakob running in like the OG Vaporfly for workouts. Did you see that? And if so, what's your take on him doing that?
Yeah, it was basically a thing to just spare his Achilles a little bit more. Uh, I mean, I obviously trained with him before he got his Achilles problems earlier this year, and then he just used I think he mostly used the Vaporfly 3 at that time. So I don't know. Actually, I never tried the OG Vaporflies, so it was quite nice to see them. Should ask him if he has a spare pair. I'd like to
Test him
try.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing he does, I'm curious if you do. It seems he does a lot of his track workouts, at least starts a lot of them in the Alpha Fly. Which in my mind, I have done track workouts in the Alpha Fly, but it is a bulky, heavier shoe, at least for a track workout. Do you ever wear those for track workouts when you're doing intervals on the track? And what's that feeling like, if so?
I don't use Alpha Fly for track. I sometimes use the Vaporflies, especially if I do threshold work on the track. But I think that the Alpha Flies can be a little bit unstable in the curves with the yeah with the AirPods and yeah the stack height. I don't feel that comfortable running fast in them. So if I don't want to use spikes, I use the Vaporflies.
Valencia, before we move on to other subjects, what's the goal? Where's your head going into it?
I want to gonna try to break 59 and hopefully with some margin. Um, I think I'm in a lot better shape now than when I ran 1.5 years ago, and I think that Valencia should be a faster course than Barcelona, even though Kiplimo ran insanely fast there earlier this year. So, yeah, break 59. And if I do so, I will also get a European record. So, yeah, that's my goal.
I love it, man. I love it. Break. How long of a break will you take after this? Any plans for vacation and to finally breathe?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have like 3 weeks where I kind of do what I like. I obviously enjoy training, so I'm not gonna like go completely off running, but I'll have 3 weeks when I don't really have a program. I'll just go by feel. And actually, I have a friend who's running New York Marathon the week after. So I'm actually joining him and start my vacation in New York. So I'm
Amazing.
just gonna yeah enjoy the food and drinks. there. Enjoyed not
Cheering
running
him?
the marathon.
Yeah. I wanted to clarify. I was like, you're running New
Yeah.
York with your friend?
No, I'm not gonna run.
Have you ever been to New
Uh,
York before?
yeah, but it was like 16 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so yeah, it's gonna be nice going there again. Probably gonna enjoy stuff I didn't do last time. So I think I've done like most of the touristy stuff. So now I'm just gonna enjoy being in the city.
Talking about the World Championship specifically, we talked earlier this year, things were going well, but I think there were some hiccups after we had spoken. I think like a few small little injuries may have popped up. I could be wrong on that, but we talked earlier this year, and then I think you strained something in a Diamond League, or you had to pull out of one. Take me through kind of the period between when we had talked, early season, you having run 12:44, 12:45, all the way up to the World Championships, and building up peak confidence going into Tokyo.
Yeah, so I had a minor hiccup around Monaco Diamond League. After about 3Ks, I felt something start pulling in my hamstring. So I tried to run with it for like 150 meters, but it didn't loosen up. And with all my injuries I've had through the years, I didn't want to risk like pulling a hamstring or anything. So I stepped off, and fortunately, it was just a cramp. So I went back to St. Moritz and did an MRI to make sure everything was okay. So it was just like 2 days or something that affected my training. Basically, apart from that, I've had no problems whatsoever ever in this build-up. So after Monaco, so that was like in the middle of July, I started doing like a small base training again, going up in mileage for 3 weeks, and then started cutting down the mileage again, and started focus on the speed work and race pace stuff, and just trying to sharpen the kick and try to stay in like a tough training period, even though I still raced. So I ran a race here in Stockholm, a 3K race where I ran 7:31, and I did that in like finishing up. I think I had like 177 Ks that week, so it's like 110 miles or something.
Wow.
Yeah, I was really confident. And then I finished third in the Diamond League final. I was like 300s or 400s of a second from the win, with like Jimmy 400s of a second in front of me, and Grant Fisher 100th of a second beating me for second. And I did that also in quite a tough training period. So leading up to Tokyo, I felt very confident that when I really eased up on the training, I would be very competitive in the 10K.
Was that tough for you to go into that 3K or that Diamond League final and have probably sore legs, tired legs? Obviously, coming out on the other side with confidence, third place finish, also running 7:31 on tired legs. But were you ever tempted to be like, okay, I'm just going to take this week easy and like actually see what the fitness is at?
Now it's like when I had to scratch myself from Paris, I made it very clear that Tokyo was everything that counted. So going into Zurich for the Diamond League final, that was kind of a bonus just for me. I wasn't really planning on going there, but then they decided to have a 3K instead of a 5K, and that felt a lot better for me in the preparation. So I just decided to go there like a week before. But obviously, I wasn't like completely overreaching, but I think the 4 days leading up to that race, I ran like a little bit more than 80K. So it's like, yeah, 20Ks per day, basically. And did a really tough workout 4 days before that. Um, so obviously I wasn't feeling completely fresh going into it, but almost coming out with a win, even though I was in that period, it gave me a lot of confidence. And especially since I've been very good at time trialing, but maybe not racing. But then being that competitive in a kick felt very good.
Obviously, this field, the 10K, so many different storylines, so many different characters, but a unique storyline of these races, these championships, was that there was really no overarching favorite or guy you could look to like you could 5 years ago, where it was like Cheptegei is the guy to beat, whether it's fast or slow. This year it was like, well, the top three could be 10 different guys. How much studying did you do going into the race of the different people, how they raced, and how that meshed into your personal race plan?
Yeah, obviously I looked to a lot into the last few championships. If there were any like specific moves that somebody liked to do. I checked the like different outside conditions. Like obviously the Olympics in Tokyo 3 years ago was maybe the one had the most similar conditions, but also Budapest in 23 was also very warm. So I was very confident that it was going to be a slow race. So that obviously affected my preparation, my build up towards the race, because I knew it was going to come down to a kick. That you can never be completely certain. But I didn't really see anyone in that field who would be comfortable taking it on, especially early. So, yeah, I was just prepared for a fast kick.
Take me through the race itself and standing on the race. How nervous were you? How'd you feel? What was the confidence level at? Obviously, knowing that you could medal and you were in the conversation to do so, you have accolades, you had, the blocks of training to make it happen, but doing it is obviously another thing. What was your mindset like on the starting line? And then take me through the race itself.
I think I've never been in a better spot mentally before a race. I usually have trouble sleeping before like important races, but I actually had my best sleep in my entire Japan trip the night before the race. And coming to the start line, I just felt like now I've had a year when I've had like the perfect preparation. I've had basically no problems for a full year, and that's a first in my career. So I just felt like I've done everything I can. So now I just should just try to enjoy the moment, because I've been working very hard to be in this situation. Uh, then the plan going into it was just for the first 7K, to, no matter if it was fast or slow, I should just try to stay by the rail as much as possible. Don't do any moves or anything. Just try to save the energy and shut down your mind, and then just turn it on again when it's 3K left, because then the race really started. And I was prepared for it to be slow, but I wasn't prepared for it to be that slow, because like it was insanely slow the first 5K. But I guess the heat affected everyone quite a lot, so no one really wanted to take it on. Because it was weird. Like I think after a few laps, Berega did some kind of charge, and it felt like he was sprinting, but it was like a 65 or 66 lap or something. It's just, but we were starting the lap with, I think we had a few 80 laps.
What?
Yeah, it was like
Which is like infinitely slower than
threshold.
marathon pace threshold. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I
You
mean,
probably
so
close
it
an easy
was,
run in that sometimes.
yeah. So yeah, it was a very weird race. But just yeah, I just tried to shut down the mind, and then with, I don't know if it was like 6 laps left or something, I was at like third or fourth position or something, but I started feeling like it's bunched up a bit, and I almost got clipped and everything. So I just decided to, well, I can just go to the front and just get a clear run, because when it's this slow, it doesn't really matter if you're in the lead. It's still going to be quite easy. So then I took the lead, and I think I cut down like 2 seconds per lap, or something, coming out up to the bell. And then, yeah, at the bell, obviously, the race started for real. The Ethiopians start to go up on the outside. So then I had to make a decision if I should try to defend my front position, or if I should just shadow and try to kick. And since I saw that it was Barrega, I just uh, did a quick calculation in my mind and thought that, yeah, he's gonna be up there until at least the final straight. And so I thought, like, yeah, it's gonna be a good back to follow. And then I was just hoping that it was gonna open up on the final straight.
How bored were you that first half with how slow things? Like, are you thinking? You're trying to shut your brain off?
I'm trying to shut my brain off, and I think I did, because I actually don't remember what I thought I was thinking. uh, but sometimes when you're in that, you're just like, maybe it's just like a song that's stuck in your head, and you just kind of continue to sing that or something like that. But it was a bit boring, to be honest. But I just, as I said, I just try to make it to 7K as efficiently and just as easy as possible. Trying to not really cover any moves or anything, just as smoothly as possible.
Finishing in third, charging down that home straight. When did you realize you placed third? Were you confident, in the moment? Did you have to wait for the scoreboard for it to populate? And what were the emotions once you had found out that you had won a global medal?
Uh, Actually, my first thought when crossing the line was that I was a little bit pissed that I didn't win. uh, then I just like took a quick glance to my right, because I knew that Jomif and Jimmy was in front of me. But then I saw that, yeah, I was third. Then I kind of felt a relief that I got a medal. And then when I actually got the flag, then I felt like overjoyed. Like that, then it felt for real. And I think it's a nice touch, just giving us the medals just right after we finish, because having that, yeah, silverware around your neck, and just standing there with the flags, it's quite a big high.
What did this mean
So
for you and your country? We talked a lot last episode about that. Did that set in when you were handed your flag, what this means for you?
yeah, like in Sweden, at least in the men's events, we've never won a medal at the World Championships in any running event. So not in the sprint, not in the middle distance, not in the long distance. So this was the first male, yeah, pure running World Championship medal that Sweden got. So it's been quite huge here in Sweden. um, yeah, suddenly I become like recognized a bit here in the streets. There's obviously a lot of media attention, and I'm just trying to ride the wave, like some restaurants to just offer me free food and everything. So just yeah, let's say just enjoying the moment now. It's been quite huge here. Uh, would have obviously been even bigger if I would have gotten the gold medal. But they said, yeah, most people just say that it's winning a gold, winning a bronze here, not like losing a gold. Uh, it kind of feel like a win.
How excited are you to build on that legacy? Obviously, this isn't your last race. You still have the opportunity to add to the legacy, whether that's another bronze or silver or even gold, or records in the case of Valencia or future races. How excited are you to continue to cement your career as something that kids in your homeland look up to?
Yeah, I'm very excited. We've already started to like think about things that we can tweak to hopefully be even more competitive and try to bring home a gold in the next global championship. There's 2 years till the next Worlds in Beijing. So yeah, since I've got a medal now, I guess like the next obvious step is just trying to win a gold. Um, so I I think there are a few things that I can tweak, and hopefully that's going to be enough to be yeah, to reach that goal. Uh, but now there's obviously a lot of races before that, so yeah, I want to try to break more records, and we have the European Championships um, next year with the 5 and 10K, and I've never won a European medal, so that's also something that I want to do. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna try to build on from this, from race by race.
Andreas, what's the final takeaway message you want to leave with the audience? The people who listened to you earlier this season, heard you call out, your ambitious goals and what it would mean to bring a medal. Let's talk to a kid from back home who's listening and considering getting into the sport for the first time because they watched you on the big screen and they watched, how it transformed their country. What would you say to them?
I mean, I think that like the obvious takeaway is that success doesn't necessarily come instantly. I ran my first world championship 10 years ago. I've had a lot of bumps in the road on the way leading up here, with stress fractures, stress reactions, different ruptures, torn meniscus. I've had four fourth places in 4 different events at the European Championships. But now, like 10 years later, I finally got a medal. So, I mean, just because you don't give up doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to have success, but you're never going to have success if you give up. So, like, that's the main takeaway. You have to build for many years, but hopefully then success will come to you.
What a line. I'm going to end there because I don't know if I can back that up with anything better. Andreas, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on the medal. I've been a fan of yours ever since we spoke. Appreciated your openness in that conversation, as well as just your dedication to your craft and trying to inspire people in the process. So congratulations. Go get a record in Valencia. I know you will. And we'll chop it back on the podcast in the future. Enjoy New York as well. And in that 3-week down period, you deserve it, man.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for having me.